Welcome back. Today we are going to study NCERT Class 6 shows Social Science Chapter T called Landforms and Lives. Landforms and Lives. Free from burden of human beings, may the earth with many heights and slopes and great plains, bearing plants endowed with varied power, spread out for us and show us her richness. The earth is my mother and I am her child. Atharva Veda Bhumi Suktaim to the earth. The big question: what are the major types of landforms and their significance to life and culture? What are the challenges and opportunities of life associated with each landform? Introduction. Human life, most mammals live on at land, as you may have noticed, has many forms and features. Its appearance changes a lot from one region to another. Suppose that you are traveled by road from the region known as Chota Nagpur in Jharkhand, reach Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, and go on to Almora in Uttarakhand. On the way, you will see very different landscapes. In fact, you will encounter three major landforms which we will now explore. Let's explore. As a class activity, form group of 4 or 5 students and observe the school's surroundings. What kind of landscape do you see? Will the landscape change a few kilometers away or within some 50 kilometers? Compare with each groups. In the same group, discuss a journey that any of you had made through a region of India. List the different landscapes seen on the way, compare with other groups. A landform is a physical feature on the surface of our planet Earth. Landform takes shape over millions of years and have a significant connection with the environmental and life. They can broadly be divided into three categories: mountains, plateaus, and plains. These landforms have different climates and are home to variety of flora and fauna. Humans have adapted to all landforms, but the number of people living on different kind of landforms varies throughout the world. Altitude: the height of an object above sea level. Example: the altitude of a mountain, the altitude of a bird or plane in the flight, the altitude of satellite. Mountains. Mountains and are landforms that are much higher than surrounding landscape. They can be recognized by a broad base, steep slope, and a narrow summit. Depending on their height, some mountains are covered with snow. At lower altitudes, the snow melts every summer and turns into water that feed rivers. At higher altitudes, the snow may never melt, leaving the mountain permanently snow capped. Other highlands with lower height, less steep slopes, and rounded tops are called hills. This drawing illustrates three landforms: mountains in the background, two of them snow capped, the plateau on the left, on the and a plain on the foreground, and a river emerging from the mountain. Precipitation: water from the atmosphere reaching the ground in any form, rain, snow, hail, or the most common form of precipitation. Think about it. What is snow? Unless you live in Himalayan regions such as Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, or Arunachal Pradesh, you may never seen snow. The rest of India, most precipitation is in the form of rain or hail. But at higher altitudes, if it is cold enough, snow will fall, covering the landscape in a soft and beautiful white blanket. Snow and hailstones are nothing but precipitation of water in solid state. Mount Everest, Mount Aconcagua, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Blanc, Mount Kanchenjunga, Mount Anamudi. Pictures of 6 mountains of the world. Most of the world's mountains are grouped in mountain ranges such as Himalayas in Asia, Alps in Europe, and Andes in South America. Some of these ranges stretch for thousands of kilometers: 9,000 meter, 8,000 meter, 7 to 6,000 meter, 5,000 meter, 4,000 meter, 6 3 2,000 meter. Is Sketch showing relative height of six mountains of the world. Figure 3.2 shows pictures of six mountains of world. Figure 3.3 bring them together to give visual impression of the relative heights from top to bottom. Mount Everest between Tibet, China and Nepal, and Kanchenjunga between Nepal and Indian states of Sikkim are the two highest peaks of Himalayan range. Mount Aconcagua in South America is the highest peak of Andes. Mount Kilimanjaro is Eastern Africa is an isolated mountain that is not part of any range. Mount Blanc is the Western Europe is the highest mount of ALPS Alphas. Anamudi in Kerala is also known as Anai Peak is the highest mountain in South India. Anamudi is the highest mountain in South India. Let's again recall this. Figure 3 point shows picture of six mountains in the wall. Figure 3 point brings them together to give a visual impression of their relative heights from top to bottom. Mount Everest between Tibet, China and Nepal. China and Nepal, Mount Everest, and Kanchenjunga, some from Nepal to Indian state of Sikkim, are the two highest peaks of Himalayan range. Mount Aconcagua, South America. In South America, Mount Aconcagua in South America is the highest peak of the Andes. Highest peak of the Andes. Mount Aconcagua is present in South America. Mount Kilimanjaro, Eastern Africa. Mount Kilimanjaro is an isolated mount that is not part of any range. Mount Blanc in the Western Europe is the highest mountain of the Alps. Anamudi in Kerala is also known as Anai Peak is the highest mountain in South India. Mountains with tall and short peaks like the Himalayas are relatively young, which means that they are found recently in the Earth's history. But that is still mountains of years ago. But that is still millions of years ago. Shorter and more rounder mountains or hills like Aravalli range are much older, have been rounded by erosion, sometimes as with the Himalayas upliftment as well as erosion continue to this day. You will learn more science about such processes and their causes. Let us just say here that some mountains of the world like Himalayas are still growing in height. Mountain forest. A type of forest that grow in mountainous region. Moss. A small green plant without flowers or true roots, often spreading cushion like cover. Moss. Lichen. A plant-like organism that generally clings to rock walls or trees. Mountain environment. Mountain slopes are often covered with a type of forest called mountain forest. Where conifer trees such as pines, fir, spruce, deodar are common. These conifer trees grow tall and cone-shaped with thin pointed leaves. At higher altitudes, the trees give way to grasses, mosses, and lichens. Here are two verses from a long poem by Kalidasa, who lived at least 1500 years ago and is often considered to be the greatest poet of ancient India. The poem Kumara Sambhava begins with an innovation to Himalayas. This is a simplified translation from the Sanskrit. In the north rises Himalaya, the lord of mountains, like a living god who measures the earth and stretches from the western to eastern ocean. From it the wind comes down, carrying spray from descendant Ganga, shaking the deodar trees, opening the peacock-style feathers, and cooling the mountain people after they hunt deer. Discuss the verses and following questions in the class. What are the western to eastern ocean? Can you locate them as well as Lord Mountains on figure 5.2? Where Ganga mentioned hint, there could be several reasons. Himalayan Himalayan Thayar, Peregrine Falcon, Mountain Hare, Golden Eagle, Canadian Lynx, Yak, Ibex, Grey Fox, Leopard, Black Bear, few mountain animals. Deep forest, flowing rivers, lake, grasslands, caves in mountains are home to diverse fauna. For instance, the golden age, the peregrine falcon, Canadian lynx, the snow leopard, the ibex, the Himalayan thyer, the mountain hare, the yak, the grey fox, and the black bear. Don't miss out. Ganga is the Indian name of the largest river originated in Himalayas. The English Ganges is also used, nearly 2,500 kilometers long. This river has numerous tributaries, that is, other rivers joined in. Some of them, like Yamuna and Gangara, also originated in the Himalayas. Others, like the Sun and Son, originated from Vindhya range to the south of the Ganga plain. Don't miss out. Ganga is the Indian name of the largest river originated in Himalayas. In English, Ganges is also used, nearly 2,500 kilometers long. This river has numerous tributaries, that is other rivers joining it. Some of them, like Yamuna and Gaggara, also originated in the Himalayas. Others, like Son and Son, originated from the Vindhya range to the south of Ganga plain. Terrace farming in North India. Terrain, a piece or stretch of land from the point of view its physical feature. Life in the mountains. The mountain terrain is usually rugged or rough and has steep slopes. This means that regular farming can only be practiced in some valley. Cultivation is practiced on the slope by cutting steps into the slope. This is called terrace farming. In many mountainous regions of the world, herding is the preferred occupation over agriculture. Tourism is often an important source of income for the people living in the mountains. The crisp mountain air and scenic beauty attract many tourists. Some tourists also go to the mountains for sports such as skiing, hiking, mountaineering, and paragliding. For many centuries, people have also traveled to those uplands and pilgrimages to holy sites. But an excessive inflow of visitors can also put fragile mountain environment under pressure. It is often difficult to find the right balance. Valley, a lower area between hills or mountains, often with a river stream flowing through it. Don't miss out. Banchadri Pal. Bachendri Paul started climbing mountains from a young age and led many women's climbing expeditions. She was the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest in 1984, was awarded Padma Shri in the year and Padma Bhushan in 2019. In the same year and 2019 Padma Bhushan. Benchadri Pal. Bachendri Pal, first woman to started climbing mountains from young age and led. Oh shit, man. Started climbing mountains from a young age and led many women's climbing expeditions. She was the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest in 1984 and was awarded Padma Shri the same year and Padma Bhushan in 2019. Arunima Sinha lost a leg in an accident when she was 22. With Benchadri Pal's encouragement and training, she managed to climb Mount Everest in 2013 and went on climb to the highest peak of every continent, including Mount Vinson in Antarctica. She was awarded Padma Shri in 2015. Let's explore these images. Figure 3.6 on page 50 depicts a few challenges that people living in mountains may face. Discuss them in groups in the class and write one paragraph on each. Also discuss why despite many such challenges, people still choose to live in mountains. Flash floods, landslides, uncontrolled tourism, avalanches, avalanche, heavy snowfall, cold burst, cold weather. Life of the mountains have defined positives from pure air to the beautiful scenery. It also involves potential challenges both natural and human made, some of which are depicted in these pictures. Flash flood. A sudden local flood often caused by a cold burst, landslide, landslide, a sudden collapse of a mass of earth or rock from a mountainside. Avalanche, the sudden fall of snow, ice, rocks from mountainsides often occurs when snow starts melting. Cold burst, a sudden violent rainstorm. Don't miss out. Many tradition communities around the world consider mountains to be sacred places and worship them. Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, at 8,849 meters, has many names. Tibetan call it Chomolungma, which means Mother Goddess of the world, and worship the mountain as such. Nepalese call as Samargamata, means Goddess of the sky. Similarly, Mount Kailash in Tibet is held sacred by followers of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and born an ancient Tibetan religion. Such reverences for mountain summits is also found elsewhere in India as well as other parts of the world. Plateaus. A plateau is a landform that rises from the surrounding land and has more or less flat surface. Some of these sites are often steep slopes like mountain plateaus can be young or old in terms of its history. Two examples of plateaus are Tibetan Plateau, the largest and highest plateau in the world, and the Deccan Plateau. The highest plateau can vary from few hundred meters to several thousand meters. Don't miss out. A Tibetan plateau has an average altitude of 4,500 meters, which explains why it is been nicknamed the roof of the world. From east to west, it is nearly 2,500 kilometers long, the distance from Chandigarh to Kanyakumari. The Deccan Plateau of central and south India is one of the oldest plateaus in the world, formed through volcanic activity million of years ago. Like mountains, plateaus are rich in mineral deposition. They have been called storehouses of the minerals. As a result, mining is a major activity on plateaus where many of the world's largest mines were found. For example, the East African Plateau is famous for gold and diamond mining. In India, huge reserves of iron, coal, manganese are found in Chota Nagpur Plateau. The plateau environment is very diverse across the world. Many plateaus have a rocky soil which makes them less fertile than plains. So next session there are some therefore less favorable to farming. An exception is that the lava plateaus that is formed through volcanic activity, as they often have a rich black soil. Plateaus are also have some many spectacular waterfalls. The Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River in southern Africa, the Hindru Falls on the Subarna River in Chota Nagpur Plateau, and a choke fall on the Sharavati River in Western Ghats are the few such waterfalls. The Nohkalakai Falls drops down 340 meters from Cherupanji Plateau in Meghalaya. Nohkalikai Falls emerging from Cherupanji Plateau. Plains. Plains are landscapes that have an extensive flat and gently undulated surface. They are not have any large hills or deep valleys. They're generally not more than 300 meters above sea level. Sea level, the average level of surface of the oceans called mean sea level. Floodplains are one of the type of plains formed by rivers originated in mountain ranges where they collect particles of Floodplains are one of the most plains found by rivers originated in mountain ranges. They call where they collect particles of rocks, sand, and silts called sediments. These sediments are carried all the way to plains where the rivers deposit them, making them soil very fertile. As a result, these plains are ideal for growing crops of all kinds, and agriculture is a major economic occupation in this landform. Plains also support a variety of flora and fauna. This world map shows few major mountain ranges, plateaus and plains. Plateaus, river plain, mountain range. Himalaya, plateaus, Yangtze, river plain, mountain range. Tibetan, Mongolian, Oral, Atlas, Nile, Nile, East African, Ganga and Brahmaputra, Amazon, Adrenalis, Patagonian, Alaska, Rocky, Mississippi. Let's explore. Use the color code in the figure 3.8 to add a landform image name. For instance, Tibetan Plateau, Rocky Range, Nile Plain. Do you have any? Do you do not have any? Remember to names. You do not have to remember the names in this map. A satellite view of Ganga Plain. The picture in the 3.9 has been taken from the satellite. It captured a portion of North India from a high altitude. Observe and discuss the image as a class activity. Which color in the Ganga plain? What does the white expansive represent? Expanse represents. What does the brown expanse at the bottom of the image represent? Life of the plains. Thousands of years ago, the first civilization developed around rivers and fertile plains. In our times, too, a large part of the world's population lives in the plains. About 40 crore people, more than one fourth of the total Indian population, lives in the India's Ganges plain, often called the Gangetic plain, as with many other plains of the world. The major occupations of the plain is the region include river fishing, agriculture. Food crops such as rice, wheat, maize, barley, millets are grown. Fiber crops such as cotton, jute, hemp are also grown in the Gangetic plain. Traditional agriculture has been mostly rain-fed, that is, watered through rainfall. In recent decades, however, agriculture has turned to irrigation with water brought to the fields through networks of channels pumped from groundwater. While irrigation has increased agriculture production, it has also contributed to the depletion of decrease of groundwater. This, pres- this presents a challenge for future of agriculture in regions. Some of the other problems affecting the Ganga plains include high population and pollution. Whether in mountain ranges or plains, rivers around the world have carried immense agricultural value. In particular, many communities have considered a river's source and its confluence with one or more other rivers to be sacred. In India, numerous festivals, ceremonies, and rituals are conducted at such locations. Confluence, the meeting point of two or more rivers. Because plains have a gentle slope, river navigation is easy and supports a lot of economic activities. In earlier days, people also used rivers extensively to travel from one place to another. Even today, there are stretches along Ganga where people prefer to use boats to move around. Let's explore. Can you give example of river sources or confluences from your region that are regarded sacred by any community? Visit nearby river and observe all activities there, whether economic or cultural. Note them down and discuss with your classmates. Name some popular tourist destination in India and identify the category of landform they are associated with. River transportation on Ganga. In this chapter, we explore the three main landforms, but its surface is very complex and experts often define a few more landforms. One such landform is a desert. Desert are considered to be large and dry expanses with very little precipitation. Their flora and fauna are also unique. Some deserts are hot, like the Sahara Desert in Africa and Thar Desert in the northwest of Indian subcontinent. Other are cold, like Gobi Desert in Indonesia. Some experts also describe Antarctica continent as a desert. Despite harsh living conditions, humans have adapted to most of the deserts in India. Communities living in the Thar Desert are migrating through it, hold rich cultural traditions such as folk songs and legends related to the desert. The diverse ways in which humans have made all landforms their home is a testimony to our adaptability and resilience. Resilience, the capability to meet challenges and difficulties, adapt them, or overcome them. The five Tinayas of ancient Tamil Sangam poetry are five landscapes associated with certain specific deities, lifestyles, moods, and emotions such as love, longing, separation, quarrel, etc. This table only lists the characteristics of the five landscapes and the main human occupation in each. Kurinji, mountainous regions, hunting and gathering. Mullai, grass and forest, cattle rearing. Murudam, fertile agriculture plants, farming. Nedhal, coastal region, fishing and seafaring. Palal, Palai, arid desert-like regions, journeying and fighting. Pallai, arid desert-like region, journeying and fighting. These five Tinayas constitute a different classification of landform than the one we have seen, but they reflect a keen awareness of the diverse regions and their characteristics. They also illustrate the deep connection between humanity and the nature environment. You do not need to remember the details of Tinayas, but the concepts they reflect need to be understood. Before we move on, landforms are classified into three types: mountain, plains, and plains. Plateaus and plains. They have every different physical characteristics and environment. Throughout history, people live and activities have been much impacted by type of landform they lived with. These landforms are integral part of culture across the world. Indian culture is in particular has celebrated them in diverse ways. Each landform offers different challenges as opportunities, question and activities projects. In what type of landform is your town will hill located? Which features mentioned in this chapter to do you see around you? Let us go back to our initial trip from Chota Nagpur to Prayagraj and Almora. Describe the three landforms you come across on the way. List a few famous pilgrimage spots in the India along with the landforms in which they are found. State weather through all falls. The Himalayan or young mountain with rounded tops. No. Plateaus usually rise sharply at least one side. No. Mountains and hills belong to the same type of landform. No. Yeah. Mountain plateaus, rivers in India have same types of flora and fauna. Ganga is a tributary to Yamuna. Desert have unique flora and fauna. Melting snow feeds rivers. Sediments from river deposit in place makes land fertile. All deserts are hot. Match words with pace. Mount Everest, rafting, camels, plateau, Gangetic plains, waterways, Mount Kilimanjaro, Yamuna, Kilimanjaro, Africa, roof of the world, Gangetic plates, rice fields, river, waterway, Ganga, rafting, climbing Mount Everest. Yeah, here we completed the third chapter of class 6 of NCERT with the subject of social studies. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in the next chapter.